All right, here with the head coach at Dallas Baptist University, Dan Heefner. First and foremost, thank you so much for the time. Want to get into the weeds a little bit about offense, hitting development, which you guys are fantastic at. First and foremost, though, because this one always interests me, we have so many new technologies in the game, so many new implements. How do you create within individual development plans a team-wide philosophy?
Yeah, to me, that's the fun part. Development is 100% individual, but we need to have a team thing that the guys can kind of latch on to, and this is who we are, this is what we do. So it's a team identity mentality that allows for individuality. That's what we're going for. So I think for us, it starts at, and we've tried to develop that with what we do from a swing standpoint, an approach standpoint, but to us, it starts all the way at the top of we want to lead the nation in doubles. And we feel like that's a team thing that we can all grab onto, like we are doubles hitters. Well then, how does that allow for the individuality? Well, we feel like it helps everybody. So it's like the guy who comes in and he's a little guy, he's a freshman, he's super fast, and it's like, a lot of times it's like, hey, you got to use your speed, hit the ball on the ground, and they come in here and it's like, hey, you're going to be a doubles guy. So we just feel like that raised his level up instead of, because we feel like whatever, you're going to get what you go for.
Yep.
If we go for singles, we're going to get singles and nothing else. But doubles, we feel like you get everything. You go for doubles, you're still getting your singles too. And now that guy who's got big time power, it's like we feel like, okay, if you go for home runs, you're going to get home runs, but not much else. But if we go for doubles, now you're going to get your doubles, singles, and your home runs. You're a complete hitter. So I think that's just kind of where it starts. That's the top of the pyramid for us is we're going to lead the nation in doubles. Every single guy is a doubles guy, doubles mentality, long line drives with power. And we feel like now, whatever your skill set is, we're able to individualize that for you and kind of to raise you up and help you become a complete hitter when it's the doubles mentality. So that's just one example of a team thing that allows us to individualize it.
And what's the best way about going through that philosophy? Because I would imagine, is a lot of it just constantly repeating it to them over and over and saying that and building the confidence and building that, so now in their head that's kind of all they're thinking about is that philosophy? Or is there also, and what's the balance with mixing in drills that kind of teaches that in a practice setting?
Yeah, I think anything in a culture, like one thing, a guy who mentored me, he talked about the steady drumbeat of a good leader has a steady drumbeat. They just kind of keep going back to the same things over and over. So it's I think that's a huge thing for a coach is to figure out what's the most important thing and what's the steady drumbeat we're going to keep going back to. So everything, culture overall for our program, but then individually for our hitters, for our infielders, for our pitching, we want to have a culture and a steady drumbeat for all those things. So we definitely have them on the offensive side, and I think where we want to create that thing for a team identity too is then it's not just coming from the coach, they start talking about it each other too. When the players are all kind of speaking the same language, then we can feed off each other and grow. And it's not just coach driven. And a big one we like too is we want them to be the ones talking and them to be able to be the ones that are coming up with the verbiage and how we say things. But there's also some things where it's if a DBU player who played here 10, 12 years ago, he's going to be in the stands and he might say something and it's the players know exactly what he's saying because there's just certain things that have stood the test of time that are going to be the same and hopefully 10 years from now, same deal then too. We do so much in development in baseball. It's great to build guys in batting cages. How do you then separate and get them to be good hitters when it's time to go? Is that a mental switch that they have to always carry? Or how do you guys go about teaching that okay, what we're doing in here is great, but we need to be able to get in the box when we're facing a live arm? Yeah, I think it always, you start with the end in mind. And I think we have to constantly be reminding our guys of what is the point of everything we're doing. Everything we're going to look at today, we're going to look at machines and we're going to look at movement prep and we're going to look at drill work and over under and all those type of things. They are all to help us be successful when you step in this box and ultimately against that guy who's standing on the mound there. That's the end thing that we're trying to figure out. And when these stands are full and that scoreboard's on, and that's what we're trying to prepare the guys for. And I think sometimes we can get so caught up in the cage and a metric and a look of a certain thing, and it's none of those things, those things all matter, but they matter in the effect of do they help you get your results when you're here? And so, yeah, and I think there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time where we're going to have to get internal. We're going to have to work on something. Your swing's got to become more efficient. We're going to try to figure out how to do that. But then we can't stay in that lane very long. Like, we're going to go there, and then we got to come out and get external and compete. And so I think that's a big thing for us is ultimately we're trying to create great competitors. And everything we're doing is to help you compete in this box when the game's on the line against a really good, like we always say, we're trying to help you, we're trying to prepare you to beat a first rounder.
Yep.
That Friday night guy that we're going to face in a regional, like that's who we're trying to beat, and that's what we're going to do day in and day out. So yeah, that's the ultimate goal of everything we're trying to do, and we can't ever get too far away from what the goal is. And that's just like you said, your question was, we're trying to create great hitters.
Right.
Not great swings, it's all to be a great hitter.
In the age of information that we're in, I'm sure a lot of these guys come in knowing the numbers more so, having worked with a lot of these implements. Do you find it harder then to put the end in mind for the guys that are coming in nowadays compared to maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago when this was still kind of new?
Yes and no. I think it's fun though. Like
right.
it's a new fun thing to have all this information and then to kind of have to filter out like what is important. So it's like, okay, yeah, that's great. And the other thing I think about data that I think is interesting is just the individuality. I think we can make a mistake when we look at averages.
Yep.
And there is an average. That means there was people that were really, really good that were above that, and there was people really, really good below that. And so now we're trying to find out, we're not trying to get you to get to the average. We're trying to figure out what's the best way for you to be successful come game time. So I think that's where data can be misleading sometimes, can be used incorrectly. But yeah, I think it all boils down to taking that data and helping us compete come game time and individualize. Everybody's different. Like that's what I think is so fun about baseball. You look at the big league hitters who are the best of the best. There are not two of them that look the same. Like every single one of them is unique, and I love just hearing like, what are their swing thoughts? What are their approach thoughts? Like how do they go about? I think the newest thing, which is really fun, is just how much. Well, it all starts with the pitcher.
Right.
Like that's who we're trying to beat. So we are reacting to what that guy does out there, and pitching just, the way it's changing with the data and what they're able to do with pitch design. Velocity's gone up, but now the newest thing is the pitch design and getting all these different shapes and everything. And we as hitters need to be able to combat that and be able to compete against that. So I think that's the fun part right now is how do we create adaptable hitters that can compete against a pitcher who's able to do multiple different things, and then that guy gets out and they're going to bring in a new guy who does something different, and I got to have a game plan of how do I compete and beat that as well.